Greetings, friends and Firebirds fans, and welcome to the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Fire and Ice, the official podcast of your Coachella Valley Firebirds of the American Hockey League. Coming to you from Palm Desert, California, a mere Ian McKinnon, right uppercut away from the Birds' home ice of Acrisure Arena. I'm your host, Judd Spicer, along with this bi-monthly endeavor. I again have the privilege and the pleasure of serving as your Firebirds insider for this sophomore season of Birds hockey. Those Firebirds insider articles can be found online on a monthly basis at cvfirebirds.com. Speaking of cvfirebirds.com, that's your home, of course, for all things Coachella Valley Firebirds, including but certainly not limited to team, merchandise, ticketing information, and much, much more. Might also want to download that CV Firebirds app on your mobile phone. Great way to get tickets and parking for everything happening at Acrisure Arena. Per the presenting sponsor of this endeavor, you know I love a good segue, friends. Desert Willow Golf Resort. Make for an awesome putt-to-puck day, just a mere 3+ miles away from Acrisure Arena. The dual awesome 36 holes of the Mountain View and Firecliff courses, respectively. And when you're clicking around, by the way, at desertwillow.com, make sure to check out the excellent and on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy. So much instruction, so much prime tutelage, a great facility, again, on-site at Desert Willow. Great way to brush up on your game here in the desert's peak season. A lot of stuff on the schedule right now, including the Mastering Your Short Game clinics, signature golf schools. Those can be 2 or 3 days, or just a one-day performance golf school. Again, that's the on-site Palm Desert Golf Academy at Desert Willow Golf Resort, desertwillow.com. Not alone on this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast. Enthused to welcome here shortly Birds rookie, really like this kid's game, Jacob Melanson. Going to be joining me here shortly. Yeah, the young man, he's just 20 years old. He's been injured of late. I trust that we'll see him back in a Birds jersey soon. But again, really come to enjoy watching Jacob play in his inaugural Birds season. Big dude, a lot of grit. Also pairs that size with some serious scoring skill. Look forward to that chat with Jacob here shortly. In the interim, step aside for a moment for our Firebirds freeze frame segment. As discussed, dudes, in last couple of episodes at the close of 2023 and then the onset of 2024, entering the meat grinder portion of the season in which the Birds had 19 games in a 36-day window. That's after about 25 games, their first 25 games in 2.5 months. And they've gotten through this, not completely unscathed, nor has any team for that matter. But the Birds are finding their flight, now with the record of 24-12-4-1. That is tops, friends, right where they belong, right in the Birds' nest. Tops of the Pacific Division. Their 53 points is good for 4th in the American Hockey League as the Birds get back from a road trip with 3 games this week. They're doing so riding a stellar 5-game point streak. A couple metrics for you before we get to some of the stats and the schedule ahead. That away record, speaking of that recent successful road trip, 16-4-2. That is the number 2 win percentage in the entire AHL. As far as home, well, we're still at 500 on the Acrisure ice. Kind of surprising. We'll look to better that with the trio of games again coming up this week. 8-8-2-1 is the home record thus far into the second season for the Firebirds. As we wrap up this torrid part of the schedule, entering the All-Star break, going to get to that as well here in just a moment. As far as this week, Wednesday, January 31, that is at home versus our old friends, the Calgary Wranglers. Also Fuego, bobblehead night, so if you got that recent Dan Bilesma bobblehead, now you can find a friend for Dan on your mantle with the Fuego bobblehead as well. Got back-to-back against Calgary, wrap it right around the next night, also at 7 p.m., Thursday, February 1st versus Calgary. Now that game, mind you, was originally scheduled for Friday, February 2, but the concert come in. What do we got? Pitbull, Ricky Martin, Shebang. Well, she banged the Birds right out of that slot from Friday night into Thursday, February 1st. So they got back to back. Then get that Friday off, turn it right around, and what's going to be a pivotal game? It's going to be a huge game, friends. Saturday, February 3rd, 6 p.m. Puck drop, pardon me. It's Mardi Gras night, by the way, against current second place team, the Tucson Roadrunners. Having themselves a surprising but undoubtedly fine season. So 3 big games coming up in 4 days. Then we hit that aforementioned All-Star break. So after this torrid stretch of 19 games in 36 days, the Birds have but one game in an 11-day stretch, and that's not happening until Saturday, February 10th, at home versus Henderson. Per the scorers, Captain Max McCormick, he is your current team leader with 37 points, matching a team high 18 goals with 19 assists. That's good for 7th in the American Hockey League. Cole Lind right behind him, 36 points, 9 goals, and a team high 27 assists. That point total, by the way, tied for 13th in the American Hockey League. Right behind Cole, we go 37, 36, 35 points to Cameron Hughes, 12 goals and 23 assists. And then Shane Wright continues his exceptional season, 30 points on the year. He's got 17 goals, matched with 13 assists. As far as our netminders, eerily, if not curiously, similar statistics for Chris Drieger, whom we just welcomed back by virtue of Philip Grubauer getting healthy again up in Seattle. So we've got Driegs back. And Ales Stejka. Well, I've only butchered his name about 67 times on this program. This is interesting, friends. Both have appeared in 17 games this season. The record for Drieger, 10-5-2. The record for Stejka, 10-5-1. Goals against for Chris Drieger, 2.35, while Ales Stejka, 2.81. The save percentages, again, eerily similar here, friends. .910 save percentage for Chris Drieger, .903 for Ales Stejka. All right, that's good for our Firebirds freeze frame segment for this episode. Let's get to the visit with Birds rookie forward Jacob Melanson. All right, Firebirds friends, as preface, my guest on this episode, January 31 episode of the Fire and Ice podcast, presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. He's a 20-year-old Nova Scotia native. He was part of the Seattle Kraken's inaugural 2021 draft class. Draft class, by the way, they really knocked this out of the park. Of course, included Matty Beniers, Riker Evans, Ryan Winterton, and Ville Otavainen, also part of that class. Last year in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, I'm not making this up, by the way, this young man played 59 games and scored 99 points. Oh, and by the way, I think he had like 15 more points in 14 playoff games. Did get a taste of Birds action last year in one game. It was an interesting one. But in his rookie season, 2024, we've enjoyed his services for 35 games. 10 points to show for it, and some penalty minutes. We're going to talk about that as well. We welcome rookie Jacob Melanson to the Fire and Ice podcast. Hello, Jacob.
Good day. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Let's talk first. Did I get your last name pronunciation right? I know a lot of people have butchered it over the years, myself included.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like growing up playing in Quebec and playing all over the place, a lot of people had some different ways of saying it. So there's not many people that get it right.
Well, I read one article about you that suggested pronouncing it like the city in Italy. Pronounce it like Melanson.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but I think at first, at the beginning of this year, I probably had like melon, like a
Yeah.
cantaloupe like melons, but that's incorrect, right?
Yeah.
All right, man. Just wanted we're the
Oh,
pronunciation
you're
leader
good.
here. Okay. Um, Mentioned the 35 games. That, of course, does not include the Birds' last 5 games. We have missed your services. I'm not going to ask you about a specific injury that's been going on of late. I'm not going to even totally ask you to specify when we'll see you back on the ice, but we hope it will be soon, Jacob.
Yeah, no, it should be coming up here soon.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
we've enjoyed watching
happy
you
to hear that.
play thus far, so hopefully not too much longer, man.
Yeah.
Um, Well, let's talk about the 35 games that you have played in the Firebirds season to date. Firebirds, as I mentioned at the outset of this episode, now back in first place in the Pacific Division, where we belong. Let's start with you, man. How would you assess your own rookie season in the AHL thus far?
Yeah, no, it's been great. Obviously, coming into pro hockey and at 20 years old in my first year, it's going as expected. It's a tough league to play in. So every game is a learning opportunity, and having the coaches we have to be able to help guide me through this first year has been exceptional. And just excited to get back on the ice and start playing again to keep learning and progressing for the years to come.
Yeah, you say it's a tough league. Hear that from a lot of players. A lot of guys
Yeah.
say it's tougher than most people think. It's a
Hmm.
minor league hockey, but most people say the players say kind of pound for pound. Yeah, it's a tougher league than most
Yeah.
people expect. Is it tougher than what you expected?
I wouldn't say tougher than what I expected. Obviously, coming into this year, I knew the speed and just the coming from junior playing against kind of 16 to 20-year olds, and then jumping in here, you're playing against some guys 35 years old. So you really learn to see the man strength in most players and just being able to play at that high speed, and also the smartness of a lot of players in this league is top notch.
You mentioned the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, and your crazy point totals from last year. I mean, that's pretty insane, man. Is that uh, and we see that sometimes that guys just have like almost 2 points a game, which you almost had last year. Is some of that by virtue of playing against guys that are 16, 17 years old and their bodies are still maturing a lot and just being that much more advanced than them physically?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, obviously, when I first came into the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League, I was just a young guy, and looking at the 19 and 20-year olds the year I was playing as a 16-year old, where like it was crazy how dominant you can be at that age. And just with the 4 years prior to that, just learning, and exactly what I'm doing here is just the learning curve of going from midget to junior and now junior to the AHL. So,
Let's talk about the Firebirds, and then we'll come back to you, Jacob. Interesting start to the season. I think more so of late, we have seen the Firebirds that we've expected to see. Again, back on
mhm.
top in the pack, points in five straight games. You guys have played a ton of games in the past 6 weeks, really smushed together. How would you describe thus far the arc of the Firebird season in your rookie year, what you've seen from the beginning until now? We're nearing game 42 of 72 already.
Yeah, obviously we have a great team coming into this year. Looking at what the team did this year or last year, we had a lot of expectations to overcome this year. And coming in, we had a lot of new guys, a lot of new faces, some young guys playing in the first year pro, which last year there wasn't. I don't know if there might have been one or two that just came in. So there's a handful of us this year. And I think just over that first stretch, the first half, we really came together as a group and were welcomed with open arms, and are improving every day and trying to make this team better, I guess.
Yeah, from what you've seen on the ice, or I guess the last handful of games from a different vantage, as you
Mhm.
haven't suited up for about a week and a half. How have you seen the team improve? What specific areas have you seen the team really start to gel and play better?
Yeah, it's just our systems are really coming along in our chemistry. So bringing in new guys and new players is tough on others, just trying to build that chemistry. So it takes a little bit. You're not going to get that chemistry right away, but as of late, we're really seeing that chemistry come together, and new players are playing with others and really enjoying their time. I guess you would want to say it that way. And I think just our systems are just execution is getting a lot better, and it's winning us games.
Yeah, anything in particular about that execution? I know that there's a few things I've seen from watching the game and going to all the games from our media vantage, things that are looking a little crisper. But what do you see specifically in those systems that are really starting to click?
I would say our D zone, and especially like shout out to our goalies that are playing amazing as of late, and they have all year. And we're just kind of helping them out a little bit more in our D zone structure and being able to get pucks out and not giving as many shots as we have in the past. So, I mean, giving them less shots, they're obviously going to do better with the amount of time they're on. And I think just being able to get the puck out and play in the offensive zone really helps.
Yeah. We talked about that tasty of the American Hockey League that you got last year, and it could not have been a more unique
No,
game for you to appear. That's back to May 15th. And for listeners and friends that recall, that was game three, pivotal game three of the Pacific Division Championship in the Calder Cup playoffs. And that went three overtimes. The eventual victory over Calgary. I like to call it the day that my dog started to hate me for a little while because I was gone so long. That game went nearly 5 hours. I know that I was gone for about 8 hours, and when I came home, my dog was like, "What the hell, man? Like, were you ever coming back?" But one of the most thrilling, unique games in the Firebirds' young history. How did that come to be? That is the one game that you appeared in last year, the playoffs.
yeah, no, it was a crazy game to play in, but I was just here to be a player just in case of injuries, and obviously one of the guys got hurt, so I got thrown into the lineup. So it was definitely an interesting game. But the year prior, in the QMJHL, I played in a three overtime game as well. So I knew what was going on, but it was a pretty fun ride being able to win that game as well. Really made it
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, and of course, Acrisure Arena. Although, let's admittedly, it did thin out a little bit. I mean, that game
Yeah,
was over. I went back and looked. Let's see, 11:54 p.m. And again, it was a
yeah,
nearly 5 hour hockey game. But I could, through certainly through regulation in a game of that gravity, and then the
yeah.
first two overtime periods, the place was at pitch volume. It was at peak volume throughout. I mean, that one taste, he must have been like, man, next year I'm going to go be playing someplace that is particularly hot
Yeah.
for hockey right now.
No, exactly. Just coming here and being able to see the fan support and just going anywhere the fans recognize you and always want to talk to you and know what's going on with the team. So it's awesome to have this community really behind us and supporting us all the way.
Were you nervous hopping into a game of that meaning?
Yeah, obviously I was a little nervous hopping into a game that I haven't played with the team all year, and hopping into a playoff game was special to me just to know that I was trusted as a player to be able to play at this level and being able to play in a playoff game.
Friends, you're tuning in to the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. My guest is Firebirds rookie forward Jacob Melanson. Jacob, in your rookie season in the American Hockey League, talk about off the ice. What have you learned about the lifestyle? Could be something even just like how to travel, like how to fold your shirts, or I don't know, something like that. But what have you learned about the professional hockey lifestyle this year?
No, you learn a lot, especially just learning from the older guys that have been in the league for years. You just learn how to treat your body, how to take care of it, how to eat right, and you do learn some stuff about traveling and how to pack light and know what to have. So it's definitely great.
Was there anything in particular that you were doing wrong before? I mean, heck, man, you're just a 20-year-old guy. So if you're doing something wrong last year, I mean, you were 19, but I don't know, something in particular like, oh, I could have been way more efficient with that packing style or whatever it might be.
I don't know if there's anything in particular. I did get a new bag that I seen everyone had, so that helped me out with traveling and not having to bring five bags.
Shane Wright is a fellow a teammate, of course, and a fellow former guest, or I should just say guest on the Fire and Ice podcast. And he did mention you guys are the same age, or is he still 19? I mean, he
He's
seems like he's 37, but
yeah, he's a year younger, so I think he's still 19.
he's
He
still
might have just
19.
turned 20.
Oh, okay.
I think he just turned 20.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, shouldn't you know that? Aren't you guys like friends and
Yeah,
roomies?
we are rooming together. I think his birthday was a month ago now, so
Sounds like you might still owe
yeah,
him a gift or
yeah.
something.
No, we got him a little cupcake. He was happy.
You got him a little cupcake.
Yeah.
Well, based on what he told me in his appearance on this program, I don't even know if he ate it because he said one thing he had learned about the AHL and professional hockey was his diet, that he needed to start eating a
Yeah.
little better. So I don't know if he ate the cupcake
Oh,
or not.
I won't say anything. I'll leave that up to him to share.
But you also referenced diet. What have you learned about how you need to treat your body and what you need to eat to help you perform better?
Yeah, I mean, just learning on a daily basis. It doesn't matter if there's a game the next day. It's just every day matters, and what you put into your body is going to affect you for maybe it's in a game in a week, but whatever you eat that week before is still going to affect you on the ice. And so it's really learning what to put in your body at the right time. And I mean, obviously, you're not going to be perfect, but just learning every day, and you'll you'll have improvements for sure.
What have you started to eat that maybe you didn't eat last year in the last couple of years? Something that you think has been better for you?
I don't know. I mean, I started eating steaks a lot more, which I usually would have once in a while, but now it's a weekly occurrence.
Okay, you guys cooking for yourselves there and your
We either cook together or we go our separate ways sometimes.
You mentioned some of the veterans, and there are many from which to choose on the Firebirds roster. Guys that have seen either a lot of
Yeah,
AHL games or several that have played in the NHL. Whether that be Devon Shore, whom the Birds just welcomed back, Connor Carrick. We can talk about guys that we became familiar with last year: Max McCormick, Cole Lind, Andrew Podorowski, Chris Drieger just came back to the Birds. Seen a lot of time in the NHL. Anybody in particular that has taken you under their wing and kind of showed you the ropes of the professional hockey life, Jacob?
I would say John Hayden has been a great player and obviously a great person to me this year. Really kind of taking me under his wing and showing me some things and really being there for me as a young guy. It's can be tough sometimes. You feel alone, and the veterans aren't the best to you, I guess, if you want to say it that way. But I couldn't say one bad thing about any veterans on this team, and they really all have taken all us young guys and really are showing us the way and how to be a pro on and off the ice. So I couldn't thank them enough for being so supportive of us.
John Hayden would seem like a great role model. Obviously, a very
Yeah.
intelligent guy. Went to Yale. Obviously, a very experienced guy. A lot of service time in both the AHL, played in the NHL as well. Anything in particular that he's taught you on or off the ice that has really stuck with you in this rookie season, Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's tough as a rookie coming into this league and you're not producing at the same caliber as I was last year. It's different minutes on the ice, different everything. So I mean, he's been really good at keeping me positive and always being there if I'm having a tough time and just showing me some stuff on the ice to work on as well.
It's interesting that you mentioned John Hayden. Trying to think of the best way exactly to frame this question. You saw the team last year, and
Hmm.
obviously you've been an integral part of what the team has done thus far this year, and it's a different look. It's a different aesthetic,
Yeah.
in part because of the roster, and in part because of the shoots and ladders that we've seen. I think with guys going up and down, but the way that the Firebirds played this year, the way that the Firebirds are winning this year, it's a different style. It's a different look, and it is one that is decidedly John Hayden. It's a little
Yeah.
more blue collar style, if I can
Mhm.
use that. It's a little more of the grit on the forecheck. It's a little more of the physicality. It's a little more of the muscle. Seems to me, man, like that very much fits the Jacob Melanson mold as well. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. Especially with John Hayden. I really respect him as a player and it's like we have a lot of similarities in our game. We love to play physical and get pucks deep and really use our body to our advantage. So being able to watch him play, I learned a lot from him and it's great having him on the team.
Mentioned before. I'm just having some fun with this, man. But among the
Yeah.
stats, leading the team in the penalty minutes category. Sometimes do you feel like you're learning that you're using the physicality too much? Is it excessive physicality, or are you just learning to pick your spots?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that like last year was a big learning curve for me and as an older guy in the QMJHL, I was bigger than most kids and was getting a lot of penalties for stuff that I might not should have, but it was just because I was overpowering some guys. So I did a lot last year with the Seattle organization, learning how to use my body at the right time and also know when not to use it. But obviously, that's part of my game is to be physical, and sometimes stuff's going to happen and you will be getting penalties here and there. But it's part of my game, and also the fighting is something that I want to show the organization that I'm not going to back down from anyone.
And we've noticed that. I mean, I think those steaks that you're eating, they're doing their thing. They're taking hold. I mean, depending on what measurements for Jacob Melanson you want to trust, I've seen you listed anywhere from 5'11" to 6'1",
Yeah.
210. Uh, but for especially for a 20-year-old guy, uh, you're a bigger dude, and you're not afraid to get in there and to mix it up. I mean, this is an audio medium that we're having this conversation on, but you can see when I'm looking at you now, you got a cut on the nose. I mean, rare is the game
Yeah,
where Jacob Melanson doesn't come off the ice with some kind of nick or cut on the face,
exactly.
maybe a little blood. But you enjoy that, man. Like that is very much your style. Yeah.
Yeah, no, growing up, I've once checking kind of came into hockey is really when I took off as a player, and it really separates, I can separate myself from others using my physicality and being the gritty player I am. And it's just something that I love. I love playing physical, and I love being able to have my teammates' backs and kind of open up space, if you want to say it that way, and give my players space because they know that I'm on the ice as well and won't let anything happen.
I think that, and these are my words, feel free to change them or clarify them.
Yeah.
I mean, when I watch you play, Jacob, and I've really enjoyed your style, and I was looking forward to seeing you on the Birds roster this year after reading a lot about you heading into the season. You have a unique way and a unique talent for getting under the skin of the opposing team. Not everybody does that the same way. I feel like last year Cole Lind did a great job of that for the Firebirds. When I watch you play this year, I kind of feel like you're that guy for Coachella Valley. Do you agree with that? And if so, do you take pride in that?
Yeah, I mean, there's tons of guys on our team that are very good at getting under the skin of other players, but I definitely take pride in it. If I can get one guy off their game, that's a win for me. So,
How do you do it? Can you share a tool of the trade, like
uh,
what a technique might? Maybe that's trade craft secret. I don't know, but
I don't know. I just think it's my physicality and my presence on the ice really disturbs other players. I don't know if that's the way, but just being physical and playing my game, I feel like guys get frustrated playing against me.
yeah, is that something? I don't know. I mean, you come from a small place. You come
Hmm.
from a small town, Amherst
Yeah,
in Nova Scotia. It's about 10, 12,000 people, I think,
yeah,
maybe even less. I mean, read about Jacob how you had to really travel quite a bit often to go to games and to go to practices. Does that kind of inform your style? Like, you might say you have a chip on your shoulder, like, yeah, this is what I had to earn it growing up. So that's how I'm going to earn it as a pro.
yeah. No, I've dealt with a lot of adversity, especially in my younger junior career with two broken collarbones back to back years, and it kind of set me back as a player and didn't really made me think about what I wanted in life and with hockey, and being able to sit back and look at it. This is what I want to do in my life, and it really showed me that hockey is what I meant to play and meant to do. So going through the adversity kind of helped me kind of become a man and really build on it. And obviously, like I'm gonna play the game how I want to be, how I want to play it, and the physicality is what I love doing, and my teammates love seeing that as well. So definitely, what I've overcome in the past has helped me get to where I am today, and just I think that made me a tougher as a player and brought my game to where it is now.
Yeah, the physicality, we've seen it a lot more in this version of the Firebirds than we did last year. Although we did see it in some instances last year, whether it be Ian McKinnon, in some instances, John Hayden, and I guess I'm referencing fights now. I mean, I tried to make a joke with Dan Bilesma at a recent post-game press conference that another writer and myself, we bet $1 on whether Ian McKinnon was going to get in a fight. I mean, it's like if he dresses, the smart money says he's probably going to get in a fight. We've also seen that from you in one of your first games at Acrisure Arena for this season. We've seen you mix it up, and it's really amazing, man, what it does, how it ripples, not just in the arena and the fan base. It obviously gets people on their feet, whether they love the rough stuff or not, but it is effective. But it also has a ripple within the team. Do you sense that as well? Do you notice that as well?
Yeah, I mean, fighting is a big part of the game, and having a fight early in a game can change the momentum drastically. So I think fighting is a really good tool to have, and I know a lot of the guys on our team won't back down from many players. So it's awesome to have the toughness we do in this group, and being able to have all those guys be able to fight whenever and not back down is a good thing to have for momentum in a game or late in a game.
A couple more for you today. Again, visiting with Birds rookie forward Jacob Melanson. Jacob mentioned that you come from a small town. Still like to think of the Coachella Valley, albeit a very rapidly growing place,
Mhm.
but isn't still in many ways a small town. As a 20-year-old guy living here, have you acclimated? Does it feel like a small place to you?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's not like that a big city, so it's awesome because I'm not used to traffic. So it's nice to not have all that traffic here, and I know in big cities there is. So I mean, it's a lovely spot. I'm honored to be able to play here and play for the fans. So I love being here. There's tons of stuff we can do, and it's been great.
Anything in particular? I do have a specific follow-up, but anything in particular that become accustomed or enjoy doing here in our desert?
I mean, I love golfing. So living in Canada, there wasn't much in the winter. So being able to golf when we can is pretty nice.
Yeah, my friend and colleague from the Desert Sun, Andrew L. John, can't forget the L in the Andrew John. He had a good article come out. The article came out somewhat recently, but the match against the good guys
Yeah,
took place, I think, back in November when you played
yeah.
them. But your swing and your game was referenced, I think, more than anybody else's. I think all parties seem very impressed with the Jacob Melanson swing. Do you agree with that?
That's good. I definitely take a rip at it every time. So it's good to be noticed.
What about the short game?
The short game is there if I play at a consistent rate every week. So it's usually people think that just because I can hit a long ball, my short game's not going to be there, but I can fool them pretty quick.
Any scores or anything in particular that you'd like to share? Whether I don't know specifically how good you are, but any golf highlights from this season you'd like to share?
Well, I haven't been playing in too many tournaments back home, but I played in one at the end of the year before leaving for Seattle, and I ended up winning. So that was probably one of the highlights of my my 2023 golf year.
What this is a tournament back in Canada.
Yeah, it was called the Parsboro Open.
Okay, what'd you shoot?
So yeah, it's a different kind of course. It's like par 65, so there's no
Yep.
par fives, but it's a tough course, and I shot 67, 67. So
Oh,
yeah, no,
all right.
it was my first time playing there, so it was pretty cool to play a new course and get the win in my first tournament there. But it's a fun track, but very difficult.
Okay. Well, when we finally get a chance to go tee it up sometimes, and I've said this to your teammates, I'll probably need you to give me some strokes. I'm just going to make sure not to get too much in your face if by chance I beat you. I mean, I've seen you fight. I don't like my chances in that arena, but maybe on the golf course, man, I can give you a run.
Sounds good.
Jacob Melanson, so appreciative of your time, man. Heal up. We're going to need you back as the Birds hit the stretch run with just about 30 games to go and another hopeful deep run in the Calder Cup playoffs. Really enjoy watching you play, man. Thanks for your time on the Fire and Ice podcast, Jake.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and also shout out to the fans. Thank you for all the support this year, and keep on coming out.
All right, Firebirds friends, it's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Fire and Ice podcast presented by Desert Willow Golf Resort. Continued appreciation for your time, your interest, your ears, your ongoing support of this endeavor. Additional appreciation goes to this episode's guest, Birds rookie forward Jacob Melanson. Readily enjoyed that visit with Jacob. Ongoing props certainly go to the sponsor of this program, Desert Willow Golf Resort. Get your tee times online for the Mountain View and Firecliff courses, respectively. Both courses looking totally prime here in the heart of the desert's peak season. And when you're poking around making those tee times online at desertwillow.com, don't forget to check out the awesome and on-site Palm Desert Academy for all your golf swing lesson tutelage needs. Desert Willow guys, they'll talk hockey with you too. Season ticket holders, last season ticket holders this season as well. Those guys love the Birds. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. It's a big week here at Acrisure Arena. Again, we've got the Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday home games, all against division rivals in the tightly packed Wednesday the 31st, Thursday, February 1st, both at home, 7 p.m. against Calgary. And then we'll see you again at Acrisure Arena this Saturday night, 6 p.m. puck drop against second place Tucson. All those should be really, really good as we head into the AHL's All-Star break. Thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. Appreciate your time. And remember, as always, one valley, one team, rising together.